Welcome back to the channel, WPH Farms. We're here today at the Hayes Feed Mill in Hayes, Kentucky, which is located on 6880, kind of in between Bowling Green and Glasgow. We're probably about 5 or 6 miles outside of Smiths Grove, Kentucky. And this is a feed mill where we actually buy our feed at. But we're gonna just kind of take a little tour today, talk to the owner a little bit about the business, what they do here, and how they can possibly help you out. So let's go inside and meet Kristen. All right, so we're inside the feed mill. I'm sitting here with Kristen Minton, her husband Tim, and her own the mill. And you guys, when did you all buy the feed mill?
We bought it in 2013.
Okay, so what, about 7, 8 years ago or something like that? And so how long has this place been a mill?
I don't know the exact time frame. I mean, I know at least probably 50 years. You know, it's evolved some since the beginning, but ultimately it's always been a mill of some sort.
So it's a staple of the community, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And so there's a cat diving off the feed bags behind us. So what's, you know, I deal with this myself, but everybody says, you know, well, it must be nice being your own boss. But tell us a little bit about being your own boss and running the mill. Well,
of course, you know, there's pros and cons of it. Of course, you know, you got to show up every day, whether somebody else is here to work or not. You got to be here. You got to show up. But for the most part, you know, you can kind of set your own time, come at your own pace, that kind of thing. Of course, my children are here with me. That was a had to when I came. Other than that, you know, you make a lot of good friends and acquaintances in the community.
Yeah, everybody likes to come hang out, right?
Absolutely, yes.
And,
the spot.
So, you know, you kind of take the good with the bad, right?
Yeah.
And so inside the mill here, we're going to talk a little bit about what you guys do outside, but inside the mill, you know, what do we got in here?
In here we carry everything as far as dog food, cat food goes, shavings, blocks, medications. Of course, you can see cattle medications, dewormers, supplies for working your cattle. We've got tags, water supplies, fencing tools, just pretty much everything you need on the farm. If we don't have it, we can get it.
Yeah, and then a lot of other miscellaneous hardware stuff too that you got. And so anyway, a lot of different stuff in here. And you guys are actually looking to sell the mill, right?
We are, yes.
And my wife Melissa actually has this listed. So if you want to learn more about it, there'll be some links in the description to take you to that. And what led you guys to wanting to sell it?
You know, my kids are here with me every day, which is great, but they're growing up on me. I would just love to be able to be home, have a little bit more hands-on time with them, and be a little bit more involved with them.
Because now what does Tim do?
Well, I guess that depends on what time of the year we're talking about. Yeah, but you know, he's not here for the most part, so it kind of leaves it to me, which has been great. It's been a godsend for me to be able to have my kids here. As opposed to, you know, working another job and having to send them to daycare. So all they know is life at the feed mill.
Yeah.
So.
Well, good deal. We're going to go outside and look around at some of the other stuff that goes on here. So let's head out there. Hey, so we're standing up at their warehouse right now, and you guys have got about a 6,000-foot warehouse here behind us. And what do you do with that? Why do you need a warehouse?
Warehouse is mostly going to be for storage. In here we keep everything from shavings, bagged seed. You know, you want to plant your grass in your yard, we've got it. You want to reseed your field, we've got that too. Bagged fertilizer, chemicals, you know, Roundup, any of that kind of stuff that you need on the farm. This is where we also keep our overflow as far as mineral goes, waterers, pretty much anything like that. So, you know, nice warehouse, concrete floor, keeps everything good and clean for us.
And it's kind of a necessity to just have that dry storage for stuff here. Just a lot of the feed additives and different things that people buy.
Yes, definitely
so. You know, a lot of people don't realize that we have to feed mineral to our cattle.
Right.
And they don't just get everything they need. And so no different than a person taking vitamins, right? We're just trying to supplement them with that. Yep. We're looking, especially different times of the year, we feed different minerals.
Right, a lot of different options.
We feed high magnesium minerals in the springtime. And so it's not just as simple as having one mineral or one product that we put out. And then it's different between animals too, because like in our case, we've got a few sheep. We can't feed the cattle mineral to the sheep. Well, we can, right?
You could.
But it won't end well.
No, it will not.
So we have to try to make sure we're not doing that. But so we'll take a look around inside, and then we'll hop on down to the next stop. Okay. So we're standing in their commodity barn right now. And I guess, Kristen, first tell us, what in the world is a commodity?
Commodities are pretty much any kind of ingredient it takes to build a feed.
Okay. And so in this case, we're standing in front of a heap of soy hull pellets.
Right.
And soy hull pellets are literally the byproduct from some soybean processing, right?
Right.
And they wind up compressing them into these cool little pellets that cows and animals love to eat. And so what do you do with these pellets?
We use soy hulls mostly as a form of fiber in the feed. They're going to run you around 12% or so protein, so they do help a little bit as far as that goes. But they're just kind of a great fiber source in feed, especially for cattle.
And I know some guys that used to at one point actually fed straight soy hulls.
We do have some customers who
so
prefer
some
to
people
feed
are still doing that?
straight soy hulls. And some people use it, in horse feed, goat feed, a lot of different types of feed, not just cattle.
All right. And so over here next to us, we've got distillers, right?
Yes.
And I think you told us the other day this came from Lawrenceburg.
This load does, yes. We get them from a couple of different distilleries, but that's the load that this came from,
And
yes.
this was from, what'd you say, wild
Turkey. Uh-huh.
So this is literally just what's left at the end of them processing that grain for that, I'm not even sure, is that whiskey?
Whiskey, uh-huh.
Bourbon. Okay, it's bourbon. But it's what's left over after they've processed that grain for making bourbon. And the cows seem to really like this. And I know you talk, like some people don't really like feeding it as much as others.
Distillers, well, you can get it in a couple of different shapes and forms. They've got a light distillers, a dark distillers. You've got your whiskey distillers, ethanol distillers, a couple of different forms of it. We prefer the dark. The cattle really tend to love the taste of it. The best thing about distillers, it's high in protein. It's about 28% protein, so it's a great protein source. Some people don't prefer it because it's more of a fine. But if you feed it, you'll find that they don't leave it behind. The cows really do like the taste of it, and they tend to really grow well on it.
And it almost has a molasses smell to it. I think at least. My nose doesn't work well, but it has that really sweet aroma, and cattle like that. They like eating that. So interesting product. And also, I think one of the things that affects agriculture a lot, and we're hearing more about carbon and everything else right today, but farmers do care about the environment, and all this stuff is essentially we're recycling because we're taking someone else's byproduct that's already been used for something else that we're then converting into feed. So it is an interesting way that we're probably a little bit greener than what people think in what we do. So let's move on to the next place. So we're inside the mill, and one of the things that they do in here, this is a roller mill.
Yes, this is where we essentially crack our corn.
Okay, and that's just that you're taking a whole kernel and I don't know what, busting it about fourths or something.
Right, yeah. And what a lot of people don't realize is every load of corn that you get, every load that's hauled out of the fields when the farmers harvest, it's going to be a different size kernel based on a lot of different varieties that they plant. So, this has to be adjusted with every load that we have bring in. So we adjust that, and then essentially it runs through the roller mill and goes over into a bin, and then we use that to, make feed with, to bag. We also bag whole shelled corn as well, which is pretty popular around deer season. We carry a lot of deer products too. So just kind of part of the process.
So you guys carry the antler growing minerals and all that stuff that people love. Yeah. So, in the corn cracking process, the biggest reason for that is just that they're going to be able to digest it a little bit more
digestible,
correct?
Yeah. They can.
They're just getting a little bit more out of it easier than if they took a whole kernel in.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize too that especially calves for their rumen development, they need whole corn, little young calves starting out. But as they get older, they typically digest the cracked corn better. And then of course you get over into ground corn, which we have a grinder as well. But you think about ground corn and you think about milk cows. Milk cows eat ground feed because they can utilize it faster and use the energy up better while they're milking. So just a lot of different reasons to put corn in its different state, but it's beneficial in every state for different cattle.
And you guys have to have a little bit of knowledge about all this so that when you're helping somebody blend a feed, you're able to do that. And so that's one of the things too to talk about is, why on earth are you milling feed versus you're just buying it on a pallet and putting it in the warehouse and selling it?
Basically to serve the customer. We love that you can come in, you have a specific need, we can make that feed for your specific need versus buying just a straight feed and everyone feeding the same kind of feed. Your cattle have a different need because you all feed for beef. Some people just like to grow calves. Some people have cows that they milk. So for every need, there's a different feed need, and we try to provide for those different needs.
You really can fit everybody's need just a little bit better. It's a lot more custom than if we had 3 feeds on pallets.
That's right, and we can make changes.
Yeah,
we can make changes as needed too. You know, if you want something with a little more molasses, we can add a little bit more. You want something a little less, you need, you know, a little bit more soy hulls in it. We can change it according to what your needs are.
Gotcha. Well, let's move over and take a look at a couple of other things. So we're at their bagger, and Kristen thinks it's funny because I think it's so neat, but is this something that, like, how hard is it even find one of these now?
I couldn't tell you. Hopefully we'll never have to find another one, and this one has been here for a long time.
Probably 50 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely earned its keep, but I tell you what, we would be lost without it. We use it every single day.
And so do you care to show us what you do with it?
Sure. So my fingers are frozen, or I would pull a bag off there and put it on there for you, but this thing right here just holds the bag. Push it down. When you pull this lever right here, we've got it set where it puts right at 50 pounds in your bag. When that's full, that pops back up. Hit this, drop your bag down. Every few bags we sit it on our scale just to double check the weight, make sure, you know, everything is legit.
Right.
Tie our bag, put it on whatever stack it goes on.
Because a lot of your customers are actually taking feed in these smaller quantities.
Yes.
They're not taking a semi-load. Or
right.
You guys run a bulk truck which has a big auger on it, and you all can go fill feeders up for the customers.
Right.
Or like in our case right now, we're buying 2,000-pound bags of feed. So they fill those bags up here as well.
Yep.
But what would you say the majority of your sales are? Selling out of like 50-pound bags, or selling bulk?
It really just varies. If we were looking at about 5 years ago when the land was plentiful with dairies, I would say it would probably be about 60-40 bulk and bagged. But, you know, there's not quite as many dairies around now, but there is a lot of backyard farmers, I call them, which is great because people are starting their own little farms and, you know, eating off their own land. So that's kind of made it to where it's probably flip-flopped around some. It's probably more like 40-60 now. So we sell a lot of bags, especially because we've got them anywhere from, you know, cattle, horses, sheep and goat, chicken, corn, any animal that you've got, we either bag it or I order it in the office.
Yeah. And so the bag feed is just a lot more convenient for those smaller operators. And
Yep.
one of the things that we're going to do in one of our later videos is talk, again, a little bit more about Kentucky agriculture and specifically beef in Kentucky, because at one time, and I looked this up the other day, and I think it's actually still true, that we're the largest beef producer east of the Mississippi, and that our average cow herd size is only like 20 to 30 head. And so a lot of those customers that run those small herds, they're probably not wanting to get a bulk truck load, 2 or 3 tons of feed at a time, and this is just more convenient for them to get it.
Definitely convenient.
So yeah, I really like the bagger. And so next to the bagger, what is this thing over here?
This over here is our bulk feed mixer. So we can mix up to, we don't like to do over about 5 ton at a time, but of course we can do anything, you know, from about 500 pounds to 5 ton in there. So once we put our commodities we talked about inside our mixer, we've got a scale over there that's certified with that too. We can run it into the bagger to bag out, or we can run it overhead. Just a couple of years ago, we had a new system put in here. So all that's new to load our bulk truck out from the top.
And that's also where you load my gigantic feed.
Yes, where we also load the giant grocery sack of feed, I call it, yes.
And so you were saying that is it the Kentucky Department of Agriculture, or who is it that comes out?
Yes, the University of Kentucky. So they'll send an adjuster out, and what they do basically is they check all of my feeds, any of my labeled feeds that we sell. If there's so much that you've got on the stack, they'll take and sample that feed. They actually have a probe they put in the bag, puts a little hole in my bag, but they sample that feed just to make sure that we're following the lines that my tag says. You know, protein is this, crude fiber is this, fat is this, that kind of thing. Of course, not always is everything perfect right on, because commodities can vary between 1% or 2%. But it also lets us know, hey, if we need to work on something else with our feed, you know, maybe our customers are looking for something that's a little bit more fiber. I know for a fact what the fiber is because they test it for me. So it really is a benefit to us and to our producers as well.
So it's not like you guys just arbitrarily go out here and do whatever you want. Somebody's actually
right. No, there's laws and limitations to all of it. So, you know, of course we try to follow that because, you know, it's what's best for us as a business and also helps our customers too.
Okay. Say we're outside and there are a lot of gates behind us, and we have bought several gates and stuff from you guys. We buy some fencing stuff and everything up here. But so what all else do you guys sell like this?
As far as gates go, you know, we've got pretty much any size, any duty that you want, anything from a light duty gate to heavy gate. We also do get some feed panel gates in. Back in here you can see we keep some creep gates as well. It's great for those people that's raising some calves. Keep a few corral panels on hand, hay feeders, also got feed bunks, mineral feeders, water troughs.
And you guys can get handling equipment and stuff
Handling
too,
equipment, yes. I've got one head catch over here right now, but most of that stuff I just order as needed. Of course, fencing supplies too. We do keep a few posts on hand. Used to keep more, you know, before COVID prices ran everything up so much. So, but as far as that goes, we can just pretty much order anything. Also can get some equipment and stuff too, as far as, you know, buckets for loaders, anything you might use on the farm.
So it's a little bit more than just being a feed mill. It's kind of whatever somebody needs to be able to raise an animal outside.
Right, that's right.
You guys have got
that.
that.
Everything you need from one.
And I'm not
to
sure,
the other.
I don't know if we talked about like cats and dogs too, but we buy our dog food up here from you guys, and so you all actually keep a lot of pet products too.
Yes.
And I don't know, do you guys carry like pet warmers and things
We
as
do.
well? Or?
Yeah, pretty much anything you need for those household pets too. I don't want to leave hogs out. Of course, I raise hogs. Not a lot of people do anymore, but it's becoming a little bit more popular. But you know, hog panels, hog feeders, things like that also. Feed, of course. But anything you need from your pet foo-foo at home to, you know, Black Betty outside, any of that stuff we've got.
There you go. All right, so we got one more stop we're going to make over here, and we're going to wrap this up. So we've got mulch behind us.
Yes.
What's the deal there?
Well, this is the end of our warehouse, and we built some bays a couple of years ago. We had a lot of customers coming in asking, because, you know, we're an agriculture store. Do you all carry mulch? Do you carry plants? Do you carry bagged fertilizer? All that kind of stuff. Yes, yes, and yes. Mulch, we carry brown, black, and red. Of course, it's snow covered today, but here in a few months, it'll be busy and everybody will be wanting to spruce up their landscaping. So aside from that, in the spring, we also will get garden plants in, garden seeds, all that good stuff. Baby chicks will be coming too. So we've got everything that you need as far as putting out your garden goes, chemicals, fertilizer, all that good stuff too.
Yeah, and the mulch and some of this stuff is really nice to be here, because in the beginning of the video I talked a little bit about, I don't really know what the numbers are, but we're kind of pretty located real well here in between Bowling Green and Glasgow, and I don't know, there's nobody really else in this area short of being in Bowling Green or Glasgow where a person can go pick up mulch or really a lot of this stuff.
Yeah,
it's
there's
just
really not.
Pretty handy in the community.
And
here.
a lot of people too, you know, they feel like their only options are, you know, like bagged mulch, that kind of thing. We've got really competitive pricing as far as the mulch goes. You know, we do the cubic yard as far as that goes. We can put it in the bed of your truck. We can put it on a trailer, whatever you need.
Hey, so we're back inside out of the cold, and a lot of dog food and stuff here in the store. So you guys have all that. And one of the things too that I'd like to mention is that during all the COVID and stuff for the last 2 years, did you guys shut down for that?
We did not. No, not one day. Of course, we're an essential business. Animals have to eat regardless of how people feel. You know, the weather's been terrible outside, but you still had to go out and feed your cattle today. You got to get your feed from somewhere, so we want to make sure that we're here when you need that.
Yeah, so another big point to this is just that, you know, it's a great business because a lot of things don't affect you all.
Right.
You've got to keep going throughout it all. So we're glad that you watched and hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and check out the links in the description, as well as the link that'll tell you a little bit more about the fact that this place is for sale if you're interested. And we hope that you come back and check out our next video. Thanks a lot.